Mr. Mike.
Evan, our truth analyst. Are you okay?
You found me. Oh, yes. All good. Everything's wonderful. How's that time zone treating you, Mike?
The time zone's treating me very well. I do know
good.
that it's 2:17 in Hong Kong right now, which is good, and it's Sunday.
Oh, yes. Sunday. The busiest day of the week, Mike.
Okay. Do you have time to go over like 4 or 5 articles real quick and get your plug on everything?
Sure.
Okay.
I've got Apple time now, Mike.
Okay, first one. Trump and the new Cold War. What do you see about it? All these tariffs, and I see it as an economic war. What is really happening?
Are we talking China, not Russia this time?
No.
They were paranoid about Russia for a while, weren't they? And all of a sudden, Russia wasn't a problem. It's as if by magic, Russia just disappeared.
Yeah, it's like it never existed.
Yeah, it's interesting how the media can bring things to the forefront. But at the moment with China, it's a good impetus for the election cycle, isn't it? They're really pushing the public to vote, getting the public all fussed about politics. It's as if it's a gigantic mind game, Mike. But with the Chinese yuan going down, they'll be able to compete in emerging markets a bit better, won't they?
Yes.
Might get that one belt, one road policy through where they couldn't before, all of a sudden. Because at the moment they can take a freight train with tanks on it all the way to Spain. And that was last year, direct from China. So, I mean, they've already got most of it implemented anyway.
But you know what? At least it's not going to Portugal. That's all I care about.
Well, it's only a stone's throw away, Mike. Through the Algarve and you're there.
Well, no. Remember, a lot of these people don't even know the country exists. They think it's a province of Spain.
Right.
Yeah.
You're some sort of space alien, Mike.
Yeah. Okay, let's get on to the next one here.
Of course.
Weigh on this one. The big hack, how China used tiny chip to infiltrate U.S. companies. Is this real or fake?
To be honest, Mike, I mean, since 1990, since mobile phones were invented, the American patent on being able to tap into your phone's been there from the get-go. So if the Chinese had a chip in some things they manufactured, it wouldn't surprise me. Australia is a good example. They exclusively make all the modems for Australia now, almost. So it would not surprise me if they have a filter in there. However, the entire internet system's based off the old Echelon 4 network, which was a MILNet network for the military in America, and all data goes through there and is filtered and tracked anyway. So you're getting double tracked, Mike.
So what is the need for them to know what kind of porn we watch and what kind of sites we're surfing and what we're buying on Amazon? What does it matter?
I don't know why porn was your first choice, Mike, when you listed them off. But why does it matter? Well, they can use it against you later. Blackmail, fantastic. You know, you're going for a job and they say, hold on a minute, if you want this job, you want to toe the line, you have to obey us, or we'll take this incriminating information and use it against you. Now, let's say they enact a law later that bans or outright bans porn, then what are you going to have? You're going to have all this incriminating evidence that can be used against you at any given moment. And if they can't do it, they'll implicate you and fabricate it anyway.
Wow, that's almost like gulag type of speaking.
Yeah, that's the world we're living in, Mike. Technologically advanced, spiritually dumb.
That's correct. Next question. I want to throw one quick one in there before I go to the next article. The government of Canada is going to throw another curveball at us, and he's actually going to start taxing people who use more than 15 gigabytes of data per month.
Well, okay. I'll tell you a funny story, Mike, here, really. This is relative to what you're saying in regards to internet. So in Australia, we've got I'm not in Australia, but I know the Australian telecommunications network back to front and inside out. And they were rolling out the National Broadband Network, which was essentially a glass cannon. I don't know if you know what a glass cannon is, but you only get to fire it once and then you can't use it anymore. Right. That's a glass cannon. It's a very bad idea to have glass cannons. But anyway, they've pulled up run on a single server, and all calls are VoIP. Everything is voice over IP now. If that server ever goes down, the whole country, grinds to a halt.
Wait. Hold on. Did that happen in South Park? When the internet...
Well, it did, with that giant modem, and they turned it on and off. Yeah, that was a good episode.
Yeah, okay, continue.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's part of the problem. Also, data is very, very expensive. They don't like unlimited data in Australia anymore, because if you can get people to pay for packets of data, let's say 100 gigabytes for $100 a month, and they go over their limit, well, then they can pay for a top-up. And the best post-paid data package was 1 gigabyte for $10 Australian, and once it runs out, your phone is essentially inoperable. It cannot call, it cannot text. You will be desperate and in a pinch when you need that data, and they will ask you to pay handsomely for it. So Canada's doing a lot better in that regard than Australia. But if you're getting taxed for your usage, that's not particularly fair. When Windows Update will randomly, unless you manually turn it off constantly, auto-update about 44 gigabytes at a time. So I think they're setting it up to make a lot of money without having to try very hard.
That's very good. Very, very good. Let's move on here. This one here. What do you think of the... Well, let me go back to the top of the article here real quick. 13 pipe bombs. What do you know?
I know that the postal system is not that efficient, so how did they get there all at the same time, Mike? That would be my question.
That's so good, because the postal system is not efficient. But one of our callers, one of our war veterans called in from the United States.
Oh, the pipe bomb was a joke too, yeah, I know. That's another aspect of it.
She called in and she said, how come there's none of those cancellations on the stamps?
Yep, that's another thing. Consignment notices and all that. It's all too perfect in its timing too, the usual story of playing the victim. But people think, the Democrats are lying to play the victim card. But actually what they're doing, in addition to that, is they are taking your perception and having it square on the TV, waiting for them to tell you what happened next in the story. By constantly poking you with drama all the time, you are constantly fixated on what they are going to tell you, and you never end up thinking for yourself.
Oh, okay, it's a good one. Let me move on here. That's a really good synopsis. So there are all these...
good at that, Mike,
All these people... Well, that's why you're our truth... Okay, did you watch Silence, the movie I told you to watch?
I've watched a part of it, Mike, but, with children, they're stepping on your head and pulling out cables and all sorts of things. You got 3 of them, Mike, that's 3 times the amount of hair you got to tear out. And coincidentally, you haven't got much left, Mike.
Okay. So when you get a chance, watch this movie Silence. Okay, I want to get your feedback on this. City of surveillance. Google-backed smart city sounds like a dystopian nightmare. So the city of Toronto wants to create... Here's a screenshot of promotional video shows the sidewalk lamps planned for a smart city. Why do they want to know what we're throwing in the garbage? And why is it so important to know what kind of ice cream we're eating? Why is it that they need to know everything and everyone we're with and talking to? What's the point?
Well, okay, I've got a better... Well, it's a good documentary. I wouldn't say better, but there's a documentary. It's a Dutch documentary, and it's called Panopticon. And I imagine you know what a panopticon is, because in Portuguese it would be a very similar word. In a prison, the best prisons have a ring system, and in the center you've got one tower that they can't see into, and it's called the panopticon. So it always looks like they're being watched. So guess what they behave like? They behave like whatever will get them in the least amount of trouble. So if you're constantly thinking you're being watched, not only are you constantly stressed and pressured and will do whatever they say, what else can they get out of you? They can still implicate you if the cameras are working at all. A lot of cameras in department stores are dummy cameras, The only cameras they care about are the ones at the cash register. They don't want employees, skimming the till. They don't really care about the stock going missing most of the time.
Mm-hmm. But
So it depends how you look at it. But then in China, for example, you've got the profiling in some of the tier 1 cities there, like Shenzhen or Beijing to an extent, Shanghai especially, and you get that social credit score. Imagine if they combine those two things, Mike. There will be no buying, there will be no selling, and then we're just one step away from revelation.
so that's that social thing we brought up in the show a few weeks ago. So it's like a Facebook thing, but the if you know good people, your score goes up, and if you do good things, your score goes up. But if you do bad things or you're connected to the wrong people, then you are not, a welcome or a good member of society, so to say.
But here's a question, Mike. Now, if they change the rules, who determines what makes your score go up and down? Definitely not you. You could be totally right, and they tell you you're wrong. Your score went down anyway. So once it becomes a subjective authoritarian dictatorship, you haven't got a leg to stand on. You're at their total whim, and they want total control. They want everyone afraid and compliant. We've got to remember, Mike, the spirit of fear is not the spirit of God, is it?
No, definitely not. Evan, I wanted to tell you something. I think you missed this. It was earlier in the show, and we were talking about. I was talking about this sudden calm I felt over me, and in my city we had a blackout. I don't know if you remember that. I messaged you and I couldn't get your messages because there was a blackout in my city, and for like pretty much.
Run to your shop. Yeah.
That's right. Now that night during the blackout, I felt this.
Much better.
I felt this ultimate calm over me. No Wi-Fi networks, no fridges running, no electronics, no nothing. It was just this ultimate calm.
Yes, that's right. Now, why do you think that is? Well, I mean, think about it. If all the Wi-Fi's off, then you're not being bathed in microwaves. Suddenly it feels cooler too. That's an interesting thing. If you look at, as I mentioned a couple of interviews ago, a couple of times ago I was on, in old videos you watch people in countries like this, for example Hong Kong, they always show the historical reel of what was going on. Everyone's wearing a blazer and a suit and a vest, and the temperatures were the same. So how come they could wear that without sweating? And now if I wear a t-shirt, I'm soaked in the summertime. What's the difference?
It's the radiation waves.
It is. Microwaves agitate two types of things, water and fat. And funnily enough, we are made of those two things predominantly. So it would not surprise me that kind of stress, once it's off, would be an immediate relief. And you must have felt great, Mike. Big smile, I'm sure.
George Orwell's 1984 book. It was written.
Animal Farm's a good one too.
Animal Farm's amazing with Snowball and Napoleon. But anyways, is Big Brother really watching us? And if so, what the hell do they want from us?
Well, okay, Mike, if you look at the world at large, you can see that you've got this one particular agenda. It all seems to be going the same direction. It all seems to be kind of tying into biblical prophecy quite accurately. It's getting closer and closer day by day. Now, they all seem to have the problem of needing to totally control you, and they don't let up for even 1 second. The reason why, of course, is if they ever did, you would realize you don't need them. And if you realize you don't need them, then what power do they have?
That's right.
That would be my question. You know? People think they have no choice. It's a very common phrase in Southeast Asia. I have no choice. What can I do? And, they can't do anything in their mind. As long as that's the case, they can't do anything. Makes sense to me. If you believe it, then they've got you.
Okay, let's move on to the next one.
Rapid fire, Mike.
Okay, so I got this article up here, and this I threw up on my Facebook because I couldn't believe this. So there's a company that's being kind of put through the ringer because they put an article or some fall ad out, and it's the Mountain Equipment Co-op CEO is what happened was there's a picture of them. Like this new fall stuff and gear to buy, but it's all white people, And the article says, "Do white people dominate the outdoors? Vancouver-based MEC apologizes for using only white models in his advertising."
Well, it's not as bad as the Miss Japan pageant last year, or Miss Sweden. It's not that bad. She wasn't even Japanese. She was from America, and she was, like an ace of spades, to put it in a colour palette people might understand, and she won. And all the Japanese were in an uproar about the joke that is the beauty contests. So it doesn't surprise me that they're, getting penalised for not filling their diversity quota. Anyone who doesn't toe the line will lose their social currency, Mike.
But Evan, I think in my heart of hearts that this person didn't do it on purpose. He just found the right people for the shot, took the picture, and I don't think he went out there and said, "Yeah, white people dominate the outdoors." I bet he
took a photo of reality, and the people who run the fake reality didn't like that, because they are totally averse to the truth. So if the truth of the matter is there were white people out on that day, that's unacceptable.
Yeah. Let's move on.
They want to control your mind, Mike.
Okay, so Tucker Carlson over on Fox News tried to get a professional in to talk about the migrant crisis coming in, or the migrant, what do you call that? The immigration train that's coming, or
the caravan.
The caravan, yeah. Caravan means camper in your neck of the woods. What is happening? What is happening with this? Can you peel it apart for us?
Well, okay, so they have, I think it's Haitians, isn't it? Hondurans and Haitians. They're coming in a column, like a foreign invasion, and obviously all the photos of them are them walking and trudging through the wilderness, but then immediately when the cameras are off, they're driven around in buses. Nothing new there, but they're coming up through Mexico, and it's essentially a foreign invasion. If Tucker Carlson mentions anything contrary to the current social narrative of, they're poor, it's sad, therefore we must give them everything.
No, he's against it. He's against it.
I know he is, but I'm saying if he goes against that narrative, what's going to happen? He's going to get stomped on and rubbished for months to come. But the thing is, it's interesting, on Tuesday, I believe there's a hurricane coming to meet that caravan, so I'll be very curious to see how they spin that.
Could it be a wrath of God?
It could be, but then again, they can manipulate the weather, and they have done so many a time. I mean, they've got a treaty. All of the United Nations has a treaty on weather weapons. Now, why would you need a treaty on weather weapons if you didn't have weather weapons?
Yeah, it's like trying to sell land on the moon.
Well, I mean, they've got the Antarctic Treaty as well, which is very interesting. So no one can go to Antarctica unless you're sanctioned. But it's 200, almost 200 countries unanimously spending their money to create a transnational Antarctic defense force that will sink your boat if you get near. And all the countries that hate each other are all working together down there. So it's as if the whole world were a puppet show. And Judy.
So let's move on. Mexico torn between stopping and aiding migrant caravan. Apparently there was something that was put up with Donald Trump saying he's putting pressure on the Mexican government now, and the government's torn to do what,
Well, they have that don't call it NAFTA agreement, so I'm not sure what the military constraints on that are, but if it's a open border policy that happened to be put through right before then, I don't think the military have to do anything, do they?
Well, I guess you're right on that. Let's move on to City News. Pittsburgh synagogue shooter facing hate crime charges and 11 deaths. My heart breaks to the families. Prayers to the families. It hurts. It hurts. People at place of worship, and just this crap happens. What do you think, Evan? What's going on?
With shootings in general. Now, you've got to be very careful with shootings because, for example, you could mention Sandy Hook like Alex Jones did, which was obviously a hoax, obviously a fraud, and he got destroyed for that. He's been eliminated from existence, more or less, except for his app that they're trying to get rid of right now.
Mm-hmm.
So some shootings are very much real. There was a double murder-suicide in Margaret River in Western Australia, and only one newspaper, touched it, and it was a local one, and none of it should have been a national tragedy. And funnily enough, the media don't touch real tragedies, so I'd have to look into this one further. But if it is legitimate, condolences.
Big time.
However, when the media gets a hold of such things, it's usually a good sign that they're telling a lie, because the media can never ever tell the truth. So you've got to be careful about those sort of things, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Always examine them thoroughly. Like that Las Vegas shooting. How was he in two places at once? That's my question. At least two. Shooting from the wrong floor at the wrong time on the wrong side. And all those dramatic photos. Oh, that London tube bombing with the bucket bomb at Parsons Green. Do you remember that one?
That was what year was that? Just refresh us on the year again.
Last year.
Okay, yes, in London.
Yeah. Here's the thing: they must really make good buckets, because that bucket was pristine, had no damage whatsoever, but it apparently annihilated this train that still happened to be there. And what was the other one? There was was it the Amsterdam? There's so many fake bombings, or the London Bridge, where the fellow took footage of the police changing into their costumes for the operation, and he's in jail and no one's seen him ever since. But he got that video out. Got in a lot of trouble, I'm sure.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff out there, Mike, and they usually leave a few calling cards, like magic numbers, 22s and 11s and 33s, coincidental numbers. Should always check the timestamps of things like 9/11. When did that happen? Check the timestamp.
Mm-hmm.
It's all there. They don't lie. They tell you everything, but they lie constantly. If that makes sense.
Okay, Evan. One last very important question I need to ask you.
Oh, good.
Where is this all heading, Evan? Tell us. Give us some light. What's the point of all this, and where is it heading?
Well, they want a one-world system. They've always wanted that. Go back to even contemporary times. George Bush wanted it. Woodrow Wilson. You can go even further back.
Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson was an absolute sellout. He signed up with the Federal Reserve Bank, and he started taxing people on their wages, right?
That's right. Well, here's the interesting thing with those international banks. You've got the BIS, Bank of International Settlement. You've got international independent foreign banks controlling every country. And, for example, Australia, they have the Reserve Bank of Australia. It's not Australian. And when you're dealing with a bank like that, they're lending you the money for your country, even though you can print it yourself. And you have to pay it back with interest, which is physically impossible. If I give you $1 million to run your country, Mike, and I say, give me back $1,000,001, it can never be done. So you're in a perpetual debt cycle. And funnily enough, that debt clock needed a new digit 2 years ago. The one in Times Square. Tick it went. Mm-hmm. And tick it goes.
And where do you? So what are you forecasting for? I don't know. What are you feeling? I mean, Evan, what are you really feeling?
I'm feeling abundantly positive. I'm feeling really good, Mike. I don't know why. I guess when you've got the truth, this sort of stuff doesn't worry you. You don't start getting afraid. Because what's that going to help you? When you get afraid, it's like sitting in a rocking chair and rocking furiously. And then by the end of it, you get out of the rocking chair. You look back and you say, I moved nowhere, but I did a lot of movement. I got nowhere, I did nothing, but I expended all my energy. And then you're no longer a threat to them if you're wasting your time fretting about these people and their machinations. But the direction it's going is nothing good. They're going to have a cashless society eventually. That's what the Bitcoin is propagating. They made that a frenzy, a get-rich-quick scheme. Now, Bitcoin's a good idea, but once it's state-controlled and the only currency you've got, and cash is made obsolete, like they're trying everywhere, like, where is it? Norway? Is it Norway or Denmark? Might even be Sweden. One of those Scandinavian countries. All those people with chips in their arm.
Yeah.
You know, credit card, all their vitals, everything on there. And once you've put a chip in your arm, you're subject to external signals, aren't you?
Yep.
You can have them transfer the signal into you that affects your body adversely, gives you a sense of fear, gives you a sense of panic, just kills you. They've got a lot of options, and they're very much prepared to use them if you do not submit to them. And once you've submitted, you're of no value to them anyway. So the best thing I could say is resist the devil, and he will flee from you.
That's right.
If that makes sense, Mike. Yeah. That would be my forecast. It's going to get worse, but never have fear. If you have fear, you've lost.
Okay.
You've got to have faith, Mike.
Oh, yeah, I have faith. I believe. Don't give up. I'm fighting back. No more Mr. Nice Mike. I don't know if you see my videos, but no more Mr. Nice Mike.
Well, I think that's a good series, Mike. Telling people how these disgusting crabs in a bucket are shows their true colours, and it gives people an idea how to deal with people like that in their own lives.
I sat back long enough, and you know what? Screw it. No more Mr. Nice Mike. And that's it.
That's right.
I already banned I banned 3 people from the channel here today that were just talking crap about our astrologist. We have an astrologist on our show that does astrology, and she's a former war veteran, and she was stationed in Okinawa and stuff, and she's got a lot of good stories, and she's an astrologist. She's following the stars and stuff and understanding where things are you know, I want to get every angle on the show. You know, we have an astrologist, we have a truth analyst who is you, we have our market expert who is Andrew, we have Anon, our comes on the show, talks about technology and stuff. Then we got, you know, our guys in California, we got our guys in the UK, we got our guys in Canada, you know?
You got your guy in Karratha, he gave you a guided tour, old Sam did.
And then we got eBank U in Japan.
And that's right, but I'll tell you a little tidbit. Karratha, I mean, Sam and I, we go way back, but Karratha is where my daughter was born, in that desolate, hot wasteland, and whew, horrible place. Especially when summer comes around, Mike, flies everywhere, in your eyes, in your nose, in your ears. Oh, wonderful place.
Anyways, yeah, that's. I wanted to get your plug on these articles, and I promise we'll get you on if you're available next week. We'll have a new slew of articles, and you could be our truth expert, and you could peel the layers off for us and give us an analysis on what's really going on.
Oh, most certainly, Mike. But how did the rest of your show go? I'm curious because I couldn't hear it today.
Of this Today show? Oh, it was fine. It was fine. I had a lot of disturbances in the comment section, so I don't deal with this.
What about Kevin Thompson? Did he survive?
He did not make it. He's not here tonight. I don't ban Kevin. Kevin's harmless. I'm talking about I'm talking about people swearing in the comment section and swearing and making fun of our guests that are on the show. And
anyone made fun of me yet, Mike?
No, they don't have no way. But
they got nothing to say about me, eh?
Nope. Well, because you could shut them down in a heartbeat, right?
That's true.
So, Mysterious Blue Space Entity Channel says, when's my next show? Every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Western Time is Trends in the Housing Market, where the housing market's going, and every Saturday night, usually 9 p.m. But I started a bit early today. I've been on this on the air for almost 3.5 hours. So today's show is Mike in the Night, where we just kind of dabble on different topics and kind of peel back what's going on. And we're not a news entity. We just kind of want to talk about what's going on around us.
Yeah, candid discussion. That's what you need. Some real life slices of life. Yeah. Yep,
that's right. That's right. So, yeah, someone just commented, Jesus is truth, the way and the life, John 3:16.
That's the one, yes. Well, there's lots of good quotes in there. In fact, the whole thing's very good. I suggest people, but when you read the Bible, a lot of people, I'll give them a tip. When you read the Bible, you're supposed to read it in a form of hermeneutics. You start at the New Testament, and you finish that. Then you go to the Old Testament, because the New Testament is a fulfillment of the Old Testament. If you start in Genesis and then you get to Exodus, you get a bit confused.
Yeah.
But if you read it the other way, it'll all make sense.
Yeah, that's really good. All right, Evan, I want to thank you so much. I guess I'll chat with you later in the. We'll just chat like we usually do, and thanks for coming on the show.
No problem.
Have a good one.
Always a pleasure, mate. You too. See you later.
See you later.